may not be suitable for all audiences.
It's kind of fun to imagine and to think and to have fun. And there's one place where I can do all of these things.
Art 101 with Mr. Berger.
Scholars, welcome back to another episode of Art 101 with me, America's favorite art teacher, Mr. Berger. And today, I need you to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks.
Well, y'all have fun. I'll be here at work, working.
So today we're going to talk about this house, the famous American Gothic house here in Eldon, Iowa. Let's go ahead and start to look at how Grant Wood found his way here to paint the house and the rest of the repercussions of his work.
In the backdrop of American Gothic, Grant Wood's 1930 masterpiece, an icon of American art worldwide, this house is the cornerstone of parodies that go into this artwork and focus on the 5-pane Gothic style window. But let's take a moment to break down how this house became the cornerstone of that artwork and how that artwork really hinges on the house as the backdrop. Now, the original house, 504 square feet, has 2 of these Gothic style windows that come from the 19th century trend known as Carpenter's Gothic or Rural Gothic that were believed to be purchased from the Sears and Roebuck catalog after the house was built. Now, the house was built in 1881-1882 by Charles and Catherine Dybel with their 8 children. Now, the Dybels owned a local livery stable. Now, a livery stable was a horse boarding and or rental out type business, but unfortunately, they would lose their home due to overdue taxes in 1897, and they would then move the family to Portland, Oregon.
Shoot.
Grant Wood would first find this house in the summer of 1930 when he was working with Edward Roman, who was at that time the director of the Cedar Rapids Little Art Gallery, some 80 miles from where this house is. Anyway, Mr. Roman had this idea of setting up art exhibitions in small rural towns, and this particular exhibition was very well received in Eldon, as was noted in the local newspaper article from July 31st, 1930. This month-long exhibition included weekly rotations of artworks, children's classes in art, and a music appreciation class for the older kids. And one of those weeks, Grant Wood was brought in during one of the weekly rotations in artwork, and he was set up with a local man named John Sharp, who would give Grant Wood tours of the little town, and there are conflicting reports on how Grant Wood actually officially became aware of this house and wanted to use it in one of his artworks. Story number 1. Driving around town with Mr. Sharp, his brother had suggested perhaps stopping by this unique house with the unique windows, and when Grant Wood spotted the house with the windows, he asked to pull over to sketch the house. He pulled out an envelope and then did his first sketch. The following day, he would come back with a small canvas and some oil paints and create a second sketch, but then would go back to his studio in Cedar Rapids to complete the actual artwork, and he would also use some photographs of the house in creating the final painting. But story number 2 is a little bit more risque, let's say. Same setup. Grant Wood comes to town for the art exhibition. Perhaps John Sharp, perhaps John Sharp's brother, perhaps another mystery individual gets a little tired of driving Grant Wood around. They're going on tour, they're having some cocktails and so forth as they drive around, and somebody in the group decides that they want to go to the local brothel. So they go to the local brothel. Grant Wood, being in the closet, says, thanks, no thanks, not my thing. And while whoever was chaperoning him around goes in to do their business, Grant Wood is stuck outside. And so, with nothing else to do, he catches the eye of the house and says, that's a cool little house with a cool little window in that brothel, and decides to do a sketch of it. The sketch on the envelope. The next day, he comes and does the oil painting, goes back to the studio to complete the work, requests the photos are sent, the rest is history. According to many, both stories are right. So you be the choice on the story that you like best, because at the end of the day, I don't think anybody's really going to know, but I know what story I like. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. On with the story. Side note, there are 2 American Gothic windows in the American Gothic house, and both of them are hinged. This allows for individuals moving in or out of the house, in particular on the top floor that has a very tight staircase leading up.
I'm here to help you with whatever problems you might have, okay?
Over the years, the American Gothic house had changed from primary residences to rental properties, and eventually the house would fall into some level of disrepair. In 1945, Nan Wood, the sister of Grant Wood and the farmer's daughter in the American Gothic painting, was speaking out for the preservation of this property. Some years later, in 1960, preservation was started by a historical architect by the name of Bill Wagner, who interestingly enough comes from the same hometown as Mr. Berger. Anyway, he started the process of preservation for this as a historical site, as it is a part of what is considered the most recognized American painting in the 20th century. But moving forward, in 1991, the state of Iowa would purchase the property from the Iowa Historical Society, where it had previously been donated. The property was already a part of the National Registry of Historic Places, and that took place in 1974. And then in 2007, it added a visitor center next to the house, which sits on its original location. There were plans to relocate the entire house to an active historical farm located in Des Moines, Iowa, known as Living History Farms, but that plan was completely disregarded and never happened, and the house remains on its original location, where Grant Wood first spotted the house in 1930 and where it became an American icon.
Scholars, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I love being able to bring it to you. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. We all really appreciate it. We'll see you next time, and you have yourself a good day.
Need I remind you that it is not my fault that you are stuck here? Do you think I want to be babysitting you?